Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rena Flood. Thank you so much for joining MTU's webinar, looking at our program, our BA in International Business with Aviation Studies, which is a really unique program designed specifically for pilots. I'm just going to share my screen. I don't know why you can see that funny icon right now. So I'm just going to share my screen so you can see the slides. No, okay, that looks much better. So as I said, you're joining us here for our webinar on the BA. Before I actually go into any of the details, I'm just going to read you a quote here. I was going to say a quick quote, but it's a little bit long, but it's a good one. And this is from a past student of ours. His name is Ben Contreras, based in Portugal, and was a base captain when he was doing the program. So starting a new degree while maintaining a full-time job seemed daunting when I undertook the course. However, despite my earliest reservations, I found it manageable. The ability to complete the course 100% online allows for flexibility when unable to attend lectures, and it also means that reviewing material can be done from anywhere. The content is well delivered by great lecturers, and topics cover an array of material that help give me the knowledge and ability in management and beyond. So a great quote there. I suppose I'm starting that off because I think he captures some of the questions and thoughts and feelings you might have right now about it seeming a bit daunting, but did find that it was manageable, and that the course does provide loads of flexibility, and that the quality of what we do is good here at MTU. So for the rest of our session, what I'm going to talk you through here now is just a little introduction into MTU, Munster Technological University, who we are and what we do. As you may be familiar with us, but probably more likely you're probably not familiar with us. A quick overview then, obviously we're based within the School of Business within MTU, so I'll just give you a little bit of detail on that. That's all really quick. Then I'm going to delve into what you actually want to know, which is that about the program. I'm going to look at the program structure, the assessment structure, and the application procedure. And then I think throughout, I kind of have a couple of student testimonials throughout. So I have a couple more to read for you to give you the students' perspective really on their experience of the course. And then I'm ending with frequently asked questions. If any of you have any questions, I'm more than willing to address them. I'm hoping though that I've actually addressed most of them here. I've been involved in this program now for 6 years, so I'm well familiar with the type of questions that people tend to ask when they're considering the program. So I think I've captured them all here, but I'm always happy to answer some more questions. So without further ado, I'm actually going to start this with a little video on MTU rather than me telling you anything. Sorry, I'm a little bit worried that you're not going to hear this. Let me see if I'm sharing my sound correctly. Okay, I am now. I should have done that at the start.
MTU is a dynamic hub of education, research, innovation and collaboration. MTU offers over 140 courses, from apprenticeships to PhDs. MTU is more than a university. It's a community, a welcoming space for all, empowering change makers in communities, locally and globally. Join our 18,000 students on a journey of excellence. Achieve your full potential. Choose MTU.
I think that was better than me telling you all about it, but just, I suppose I'll tell you a little bit more. MTU Munster Tech University is based in the south of Ireland. We have a total of 6 campuses across 2 counties in Ireland, Cork and Kerry. It was previously known as Cork Institute of Technology, and separately the Institute of Technology in Tralee, and they were combined together to form the university. Where this program is based out of is the main campus in Cork, which is Bishopstown campus, and there you would have our School of Business, our tourism school, engineering, sciences, computers, and a whole load of other stuff as well, but they'd be the main areas that you would find. There is no requirement whatsoever at any stage of the program to attend in person anywhere or anything, okay? However, I would like you to know, when you're doing the course, you are a student of MTU's, you are always welcome to come to campus. Myself and or other lecturers are always happy to meet with you. You've every right to use the library, for example, just as any other student would. And I don't know, we've had students come in and meet with us. I don't know about using the library, but when we tend to see most students is actually at the graduation day. So just like all of our other kind of in-person students, on completion of the degree, You are invited to attend your conferring ceremony, your graduation ceremony, a couple of months after completing, which is a lovely day on the campus in Bishopstown. You get to wear the full cap and gown and get your certificate and have family there and take pictures and actually get to meet your peers in person and some of your lecturers, which is lovely. And that's always a gorgeous day. And we've met loads of the students who've done this program entirely online. So we'd never met them for the whole 2 years when they were doing it, and then we met them when they were finished, which was absolutely lovely. So that is the only time that you may want to come to campus. But again, there's absolutely no requirement. If you can't attend, you can watch the conferring ceremony online, and your cert is posted out to you. So there's never, ever a reason to come. That video is just to give you a flavour of who we are and to let you know that, I suppose, what you'd be becoming a part of. Within MTU, as I said, we're based in the School of Business. There's over 3,500 students just within that school. We've a particularly long track record of professional accountancy. So we'd have some degrees in accountancy and other degrees where there's modules where students get approved kind of by the big accountancy bodies for some of their professional exams. Our most popular programs would be an undergraduate business degree in business and information systems, that's the BIS, or marketing. We've a few human resource management programs, and a general bachelor of business. And we also have a great international business program as well. But there's loads there. It's just to give you a flavour of kind of what the school does, and there's more masters as well. As we are a technological university, we have a real ethos of real world work ready graduates. We focus on developing the skills that you need for the workplace today and in the future, because we're very cognizant of the fact that the world is changing and the skills that you're going to need, for example, in 10 years' time are different to what the workplace needs right now. But also it means that where possible, we try to get your assessments to involve maybe real companies. We do bring in guest speakers so that you get to hear from people who work in industry and hear about different companies. We try to do authentic assessments, so assessments that are as based in real life or actually are in real life with live cases where possible. And the idea that is really that we want you to apply the theory that you learn with us into a practical real life example as quickly as possible to help with your understanding, and to really get for you to understand how it actually applies in the real world. We have a substantial suite of masters across all of the School of Business, but I suppose what will be relevant to you, obviously we have an MBA with Aviation Management, which is a nice course to do after the BA in Aviation, or BA in International Business with Aviation Management. So, and obviously we have a lot of experience with online delivery. We had begun doing online degree programs well before COVID, and universities had to move online. But obviously with that pressure of having to move online, we've improved and further integrated more softwares and stuff. So we really do an online delivery very well. So this program is now 6 years old, and just to explain the development behind it, there was a real understanding in MTU of the unique challenges that pilots face. Sorry, I'm just getting a dry throat. I'll just take a sip here. So a lot of pilots spend a lot of time getting educated and qualified to become commercial pilots. And yet you're qualified commercial pilots, and yet you don't have any academic qualification, so to speak, unless you'd previously done that. So there was no academic recognition of your work. And then for you to go and do a part-time degree program or a full-time degree program is next to impossible in person, given the kind of, unique schedules that pilots tend to have, not working a 9 to 5, not being based in the one place all of the time, etc. So MTU engaged with some industry and key stakeholders, people who are working in the industry who really understood these challenges, and helped us to kind of develop the concept for this BA in International Business with Aviation. There's real excitement within the industry when we're doing this, and that's really shown in, at this stage now, we've had over 300 students do the program across 6 years. We're constantly being praised for the program, and people are really surprised with what they can do. And I'll explain why it's so unique in a minute. It's a complex program to reflect a complex learner, and we recognize that you're time poor people. So the rationale for why you might want to consider doing this program, many pilots lack opportunities to gain degrees because of the nature of their work, which I've just discussed. And you might want that degree for various reasons, which I'll talk about in a minute. It can help with progression within airlines. So some airlines will want you to have a degree at certain levels. But even if it's not a requirement, it might be desirable, particularly if you're getting to a stage where you're competing against pilots who all have a very similar CV to you, in that, you've flown the similar amount of hours, you've got the similar qualifications. This degree can help you stand out, particularly that it has an aviation element, but also a business element, which shows then to your airline, that you can think about the business and what you're doing, not just from a pilot's point of view, but also from a business corporate point of view too. Work life is erratic for pilots and non-conventionals, therefore online learning is absolutely key, and our program therefore is really flexible and works with what you're doing. So this is the perfect way to study for you. Um, and I suppose with this program, we're trying to recognize the work that you've done already and the training and education that you've done already. So why you might do this, we've had, as I said, we've had over 300 students now. So a lot of them would be first officers, and they'd be hoping that this will help them, speed up that process in terms of being promoted to captain. We've had quite a few captains doing this, and they've been using it. They've been starting to look at, promotions to base captain, training captain. Um, looking for that kind of experience, and again it helps them stand out of the crowd. And then we've had others who've actually moved into airline management, or moved into a sort of a hybrid role, or starting their own business completely separately to their pilot lives, either as an aside or like kind of a post flying experience. And just we've one student, for example, who graduated a couple of years ago and has since joined a startup airline. So he was involved in the kind of startup business side of the airline before any flight had taken off. Then once the flight had taken off, because he was enjoying the management and doing that side so well, they decided to give him a half job. So he's only flying half the time and working the business half the time, and he absolutely loves it. And just when I met him, I bumped into him at an event. He was saying, like, if it wasn't for this degree, they wouldn't have even considered him for the role that he was ended up hired for. And apart from, he wouldn't have had the skills to do it, and he wouldn't have this job now that he's absolutely loving, that kind of half. So potentially, that's your sort of mindset as well. And sometimes people just use it as a complete kind of backup plan. They want to have a backup plan in case something happens. And some people use it as a sort of retirement plan. So which we may fall in there, or maybe you fall somewhere else. I have another quote here. This is from a guy called Sean Brennan, who was the first officer at Ryanair when he was a student with us. I must catch up and see where he is now. And we were CIT at the time, which is why he mentions that, not MTU. The International Business and Aviation Studies course at CIT allowed me to achieve a degree while still working full-time. The lectures were hosted online through Zoom, so students could either engage with the lecturer and other students, or watch back at a later date if they happened to be working. The lecturers were really helpful and quick to respond to any queries I had regarding assignments or classwork. Even though the degree is entirely online, it feels like you have the full support you would expect from an on-campus learning experience. I find the material relevant to what is happening in the industry right now. It taught me to see the sector from a new perspective and develop new insights into different areas of the business, which I will take forward into my future roles. This degree will open doors for me in the future, whichever path I choose in the aviation industry. So another lovely quote, and I suppose I liked this one particularly because it talks about the experience, and links it to, like, if you're on campus, you do expect, to be able to ask questions and get quick responses. And he still got that even though he was online. And that link with the industry. So this is a degree in international business with aviation studies. So there's one or two modules that are solely based on aviation, which are obviously aviation based. Then your other modules are international business. So they look at loads of different businesses and industries, and there'll be examples from everything, but they are also brought back to aviation as well. So most of your assignments will be linked to the aviation industry, but you might have a couple that aren't. And we would encourage that because we think it's good to see the learnings from different industries. That's how business works a lot. And then sometimes you get to choose, what company you want to focus on. So sometimes you have a choice whether you want to make it more aviation focused, or whether you want to kind of branch out and look at something else. So what makes our program unique, really unique to what's out there, is that we recognize your training as a pilot, the equivalent of 2 years of this degree, okay? So to the equivalent of 120 ECTS, which is known as European Credit Transfers. system, which is really significant. So normally to get this is a level 8 honours degree of Bachelor of Arts. To get that in Ireland, or an equivalent in Europe, you would have to do 4 years of studying full time. Okay. So we're recognizing that your pilot qualification training is the equivalent to 2 years of that, which means, and we've done a huge piece of work mapping that out. It's called RPL, Recognized Prior Learning. So we've designed the program therefore to be really achievable and doable with the demands of a pilot. And sorry, I'm just looking, I thought there was a point here. So basically with the 2 years there, we've recognized that means that you can do this program in 2 years only, part-time and online. Okay, so like I said, it would normally take you 4 years to achieve. This program is only for pilots, so you get to do it in 2 years part-time. The content is really interesting, and that's what it says there about it. We talked about this, that we look beyond the aviation industry. So this was launched in September 2018. You can see the CIT information there. We had 20 students the first year. It already grew to over 35 the next year. Now, class of 2022, we had a huge bumper year in 2020, obviously because of COVID, with a lot of pilots with extra time. So you can see there that we actually did a double intake, and we had over 130 students in 1 year, which is fantastic. And most of them have graduated now. Some of them pushed it out a little bit, and I'll talk about that. And then obviously our numbers came back down to more normal, and this would be kind of what our average class size now would be around 40 students. So we'd every year we'd be kind of expecting to have kind of 30 to 40 students in the class, not the larger numbers that we saw during COVID. And I think this might be my last testimonial. I'm not sure. This is from Ian Duffy, who was flying with Emirates at the time. When the BA in International Business with Aviation Studies at CIT was announced, I immediately looked into it, as I've been looking to do a degree over the last few years. The ability to do all lectures online is the only way I could have undertaken such a degree. All of the lecturers have vast experience in their respective fields and are very responsive to any queries we have. There is flexibility in course work deadlines, which is also a huge help, as my roster can be challenging at times. I would highly recommend that anyone interested should apply for the course. It has broadened my mind and opens up a lot of doors down the line. So again, another great report. So just to explain how this works, okay, in terms of the program structure. So we have the pilot training, okay, which is obviously you've already done, okay, so you've gone and got qualified. Then part of your application, you have to submit a small portfolio, but really it's not that much. It's your CV. We do need access to a copy of your pilot's license, because we have to verify your qualifications. And then you have to, I can't remember, I think you have to submit a reflective journal, but all of those details are online. And we've changed, apologies, I'm not entirely sure. We've changed it a little bit this year, so I can't remember exactly what we're looking for. In year one, you have three semesters, and that is a little bit unique. So instead of an academic year is normally kind of September to June, this runs throughout the year. So you've got 3 semesters. So your first semester, which is your typical kind of back to school, start of school, September through to December. You have 2 modules: global management and leadership, and sales and marketing. Then in semester 2, which is January through to kind of end of April, start to May, you have the HRM, so human resource management function, and finance management. And then in semester 3, which is through the summer, which is June to August, you have cross-cultural communication and purchasing and supply management. We know that, like, for most pilots, the summer is their busiest time. So these modules are designed to be, cross-cultural communication is one that most of you already have a lot of experience in, and you should be able to manage it quite well. I will talk about what happens if you're kind of too busy to do everything in a minute. Then in semester 4, which is September to December, again, you have a choice in your second year that is between geopolitics or economics and trade. And then your other module is strategy. Semester 5, which is again January through to April, you have aviation business and operations and project management. And then over the summer, you have essentials of law and a business project. But that business project module, you actually kind of start a little bit earlier. So you're kind of working on that most of the way through your second year. So that last summer is very, very manageable. So basically it's 2 modules per semester. So it's very achievable time-wise, workload-wise. It does mean it flies by, because there aren't, like, you have breaks, like kind of 2 weeks in at the end of December, start of January, 2 weeks around whenever Easter falls, so March or April, a couple of weeks in the summer, but the 2 years kind of goes by quite quickly because there's not that many breaks like long breaks in there. But the reason we have the summer modules is just to make it all more manageable in terms of time. Okay. So the application process is open now. You can apply online via our website. Okay, so you apply to us. As I said, you need to submit whatever the requirements are in terms of CV, license, etc. That will be approved. We do try to approve them as quickly as possible. So ideally within a couple of weeks, but sometimes, particularly in the summer, if people are on leave, etc., it can take longer. But we will get back to you as soon as possible. And if there's information missing, we will follow up with you on that and request that information before processing with your application. Okay. Then I suppose we have an induction program just either the week before or the week of your first week of lectures. You will have an additional session or two, which is just an induction into MTU, life as a student, resources that you need to be aware of, contacts that you need to be aware of, kind of any policies and regulations that you might need to be aware of, that type of thing. Okay. And then done in 2 years and it flies by. Students always say to me, I always say to them, it'll fly by. And they always say, and I say, you're probably rolling your eyes and laughing at me. And I said, but I'll see you on the stage conferring before you know it. And then they say, when they're on the stage, you said this would happen and I can't believe I'm here. So it does fly by. So what does it mean from you? So the modules are 15 weeks, okay? And it's 2 modules, all right? That's approximately 6 to 12 hours of self-study, okay? So that's plus your lecture time, okay? So you've 3 hours per module of class time. They're generally recorded lectures that are run live. So if you can join live, we always recommend people do so. It's more enjoyable for the student and it's more enjoyable, I'm not going to lie, for the lecturer. It's nice when you've people there to ask you questions and engage and do activities. But if you can't attend live at all, that's completely fine. So we have had students do this program and they have attended almost every single class live. How they manage that, I don't know. Maybe they're flying nights. And then we've had people who have literally done the whole degree and never attended one class live ever and have done the whole thing on recordings. And that's possible too. And then we've had most people fall somewhere in the middle. When they're free, they attend live, and when they're not free, they don't. So all of that's possible, but I think the thing you have to be mindful here is you're going to have 6 hours of lectures that you have to listen to. And then potentially another 6 to 12 hours of work on extra study reading assignments. Okay, so I've gone through these already. Just so again, semester 1 and 4 would be September to December, semester 2 and 5 would be January to May, and semester 3 is June to August. Okay, and it does say condensed lectures. So what that means, you still have the same amount of hours, but they try to deliver it just to allow for annual leave and stuff for the staff. They deliver it kind of top heavy, so kind of you have more hours per week, but you still have the same amount of weeks to get through the content. We're flexible with holidays and work regarding assignment details. So in an ideal world, we will set you an assignment. We always try to give a minimum of 1 month notice for assignments. So at the start of the semester, we'll tell you what assignments you have per module. I think the question comes up later, but you're probably thinking it now. So there's no exams. You have an awful lot of continuous assessment. Okay, so you're assessed via projects, assignments, presentations, reports, that type of thing. So at the very start of the semester, or every lecturer will tell you, in this module, you have, let's say, 2 projects to do. This is the first one, it'll be due then. This is the second one. And as like about a month or more, depending on the lecturer, they will give you the assignment details. You get to go away and work on it. But if for whatever reason you have annual leave planned, you unfortunately get sick, somebody in your family needs you, you get called in for unexpected extra hours and work, whatever it might be, and you just need an extra week or 2, that's absolutely possible. There is a system you have to follow. You have to fill in a form. It's called an IEC form, and you just talk to your lecturer and say, look, such and such thing happened. I can do this, but I just need an extra week or 2 weeks, and that's absolutely fine. Okay. We would just always encourage people to do that. Like, that is your last resort, not your plan, because it just all snowballs otherwise. Okay, so if you keep pushing everything out, eventually, you've got, instead of having one assignment due and then another one due, you've got 2 kind of on top of each other. So it's just to try to avoid that snowballing impact. But we are as flexible as we can be. The classes that we run are all at different times, all are recorded and we watch in your own time, as we've talked about. We have designed it so that it should be very manageable with your work life. In terms of online learning, we would encourage you to have regular live contact with the lecturer. So if you can attend live, join live. If you can't, send them an email, ask for a call, etc. Okay. Variety of content keeps it interesting. So all lecturers would, design their classes to try to keep it interesting and engaging, whether you attend live or not. And that's another reason why, not everything's about the aviation industry. Be looking at different industries to get more learning and add more variety to class as well. Zoom and our learning platform that we use, Canva, are extremely user friendly and extremely flexible. So, you can attend and listen to classes via your mobile phone, via tablet, laptop, or a desktop. If you can't attend, you just watch it later on and record it. All lectures will have interactive elements, so they'll have activities or conversations or chats, or might ask you to engage in a poll or a questionnaire or something like that. Okay, I've mentioned this already, the platforms that we use. I'm not going to explain this whole chart, guys, but just if you want to know, it's just to kind of show you like the type of assessments. As I mentioned earlier, there's no exams, but you can see here you have projects, essays, critiques, written reports, presentation. There was an MCQ exam there, a multiple choice question exam. I think that might have been removed lately and changed for more assessment. But it's just to give you an idea there of how spread out it is and the type of assessments you'll be doing. So now we've moved on to the frequently asked questions section. So is the qualification internationally recognized? The really quick and easy answer is yes, yes, it is. Just sometimes people want more information on that, particularly if you're not from Ireland or living in Ireland and you're unfamiliar with our education system. So MTU is a university in and of its own right, so we can accredit our own programs, but even to do so, like something like this, we need external validation, and that's all built into the process. But we are recognised by the Higher Education Authority in Ireland, so we can do that. And within Ireland, we have what's called the National Framework of Qualifications, and your programs are mapped onto that. So I have a link here. I might just see if I can click into it. If it will allow me to do this. Yes, it will. Great. So this is the qqi.ie. So if you Google kind of National Framework of Qualifications in Ireland, you will see this. And then just the reason I'm bringing this on is just to explain. So your kind of lower level of secondary school or high school, or I suppose it would be middle school, is down here. High school, secondary level school at the end would be here. Okay. And then, so when you leave school, this is all of your kind of options. So you've got certifications here, you have an ordinary bachelor degree, which is level 7. And this one is an honours degree, so it'll be level 8. Okay. After that, a master's or a postgraduate diploma would be level 9, and your doctorate or your PhD would be level 10. Okay. So where this degree falls is here, level 8. Okay. I want to see if the European so there's a little video there. I don't have time to go into that now. It used to allow me to click on this and then show you the European. So you can, if you want to have a look, you can go in here and it will map these onto the European qualifications framework. So if you want to do that, you can. And if you have any more questions, you can come back to me. But I suppose the real thing, I suppose, that I wanted to share with you was just that it is internationally recognized and it is validated and accredited. Okay. I also often get asked, what masters would I be qualified to apply for the degree? As you've just seen on that quality frameworks, this is a level 8 degree and then it goes on to level 9. So that's the natural progression. You are qualified to go on to a master's, but it depends on the discipline. Okay. So, this would qualify you to go on to do most masters that are in any kind of business area. So if you wanted to do a master's in marketing, HR, strategy, an MBA, a master's in business administration, this would absolutely qualify you to do that. If you wanted to go and do a master's in, I don't know, environmental science or, psychology, if it was a converter one that was open to anybody with any experience, you could do that. If they're looking for you to already have an undergraduate degree, that's a science degree, so a Bachelor of Science. This is a Bachelor of Arts, so you're not going to meet that criteria. Okay, so like the question, I suppose, can I do a master's? Yes, you have a level 8. Yes, you can go on and do a level 9, but it would depend on what sector it was. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But if you have a specific master's in mind that you want to know, would I meet the entry requirements, then contact me. Okay. But for example, if you're looking at an MBA or a master's in like marketing, human resources, anything like that, like sustainability for business, you should be, but you'd want to check. Okay. Um, and what is the total fee? The total fee is €7,000 for the 4 years. It payments are due. So to accept your place initially, you're asked for a €500 deposit, which needs to be paid to secure your place. Then after that, you pay a fee per the modules you're doing per semester. So you pay, because of 6 semesters, you pay in 6 semesters. So if at any stage you need to pause your studying or you need to defer a module because you just like for whatever time commitments or life commitments you can't manage it, then beauty here is that you also defer your payments. Okay. Is it possible to complete the course in less time? We get this all the time, this question. The answer is no, not really. Okay. Because doing it the two together is essentially like studying full time, and if you're working, whether it be part-time or full-time, it would just be extremely challenging, and we just really don't encourage it. Okay. And we don't design it. There could be classes clashing, and we've also designed the program that like the information is structured in such a way that by the time you get to the modules later on, you have the prior knowledge to build on that, so you wouldn't perform as well either. Is it possible to take other modules at COT or MTU? The answer again is no, not really. You'd be very limited in terms of only being able to look at modules that are online. And to get this degree, you have to achieve all of the modules on this. So you'd just be adding an additional subject and cost onto your program for the fun, basically. So it doesn't really make sense. Is it possible to take the 2 elective modules? This comes up as well. Unfortunately, no, not at the moment. It's really interesting because pilots always seem to be interested in the 2 topics, but you do have to make a choice. But you can at the time attend a couple of classes of each one and then decide which you want. Because it might depend on the lecturer at the time. Maybe you just prefer one style or something and decide that's what you want to do. If my work hours increase, is it possible to reduce academic workload? Absolutely. Okay. So if you know you're going to have a busy semester, a busy summer, or winter, you can defer the whole semester, or you can defer a module. So we've had, like, you can do this module in 2 years, but we have had students do it in 4 years, 5 years. And there might even be 1 or 2 that have taken the 6 years to do it, okay? And there is absolutely no judgment here. There is no problem whatsoever with that, okay? I'm actually doing a course myself, and it's taking me a lot longer than it could do. I could have done it in less time. But like life happens. People have babies or sadly tragedies, or move countries, and these things happen, and academic work on top of that just sometimes is impossible. Okay. So again, there's a process for that. You have to fill in forms, you have to contact us. Like, we would encourage you, if you just disappear, it's very hard for us to manage, and you could end up incurring additional costs. Once you talk and engage with us, we can kind of sort everything out. Is there any funding available? So there actually is funding available, but it's external, and it's only for pilots who are based in Ireland or for a company that is based in Ireland. It is run via an organization called SkillNet Aviation. Once you've applied, we do send you the details for it. It is granted on a first come, first served basis once you meet their criteria. The SkillNet Aviation do the decision making in terms of who, like, what the criteria is, who receives it, etc. So neither myself nor MTU have involvement in that. The funding is for 20% of the degree, so quite significant, quite a significant amount. So I would encourage you, if you think you meet the criteria, or even if you want to ask questions about it, once you get the information, to contact them. It is a limited number, but it's quite a significant number. I think it's 10 or 15 students they can support, so it's definitely worth applying for once you're there. Are there any additional fees or costs for the program? The answer is absolutely not. Okay, so once you're a student, you have access to our online library. So any resources that lecturers give you, like a book or an article or a journal to go and read, either they will give to you or will be available in our library. There's no additional payments for exams or professional exams, anything like that. The only additional cost you might incur be if you want to pay for your own flights to come to your conferring ceremony, which, as I said earlier, we would love to have you. But again, that's completely and utterly voluntary. You don't have to attend and can watch it online. Okay. I think I've just answered that. No, there's no textbooks that you need to purchase. There'll be textbooks recommended, but they should be available in our library if so. I've already answered this question about the assessment format, so I won't go into it again, but don't feel free to answer me. And is this very focused on aviation industry? I think I've answered that already as well. I think I have one last comment for you today, and then I will leave you. I am a captain with Ryanair and started the course at CIT last summer. It is very interesting to get to see what is going on in the offices of your airline and how business decisions are made. Since as pilots, we mainly work on the front line. During the first semester, we learned about management styles and techniques, comparing traditional and more contemporary styles, and getting to see how these are implemented in your own company. As an airline captain with a young family, time management can be difficult, which is why the online course CIT is offering works for me. I get to study when and where I want. Courses can be followed live at set times, or you can choose to view the recordings at a later time. I find myself switching between the different options per week, depending on my schedule. Workload can be high at times, especially when assignments are due, but so far the work has been really rewarding, and I definitely feel obtaining a bachelor's degree covering all the different business aspects of aviation will contribute to the career of a commercial pilot. The level of the lecturers at CIT is very high. All of them have experience outside of the classroom. You can tell by the way they use real life examples that make the courses very engaging. That was from Eric van der Holst, a captain from Ryanair, Germany. And that is it for me. I don't think there are any questions. I'm just going to double check here now. No, there isn't. Okay, that is it. Thank you very much for listening and paying attention and your interest in our program. And if you have any further queries, please don't hesitate to contact me. My name is Rena Flood at renaflood.flood@mtu.ie. Thank you very much for your time today.